I was about 3 or something. Just watching the cars, I've always wanted to be in it and experiencing it, but back then I wasn't old enough to.
I sold that car and kind of went without a Porsche for a while, thinking, well, I'll get back into it when he comes along and we can do it together. When we were teaching Jack how to drive, it's like, okay, it won't be long.
You only need a driver's license to start driving on the track.
I didn't want to over talk it up, but once he started showing interest, I was ready to jump in with both feet.
So then it started to become a possibility for me to drive, which I was excited but a little anxious.
There's got to be something that a father-son share together. It can't just be a passing comment or just an occasional meal or just some general family time. There's got to be something you can bond over, talk about, dream about, experience together.
We wanted a track-specific car.
There's a friend of ours, old car guy. One day at church, he came up to me, he said, "You need to get a car." I said, "Oh, really? Where is it?" "Over there on Appleton Pike," which is just around the corner from us. Went up, knocked, and the gentleman came out and I said, "You wouldn't happen to have an old car in a barn back here?" He said, "Yeah, I do." I said, "Is it a Porsche?" He said, "Yeah, it is, in fact."
When we first saw the car, a barn had collapsed on it. There were also body panels missing, along with everything else. No windows, no seats, and the heart, which is the engine, it was gone.
So we bought it for $1,000. Immediately thought of an engine that I knew had existed and been built years ago by a friend of mine. And unfortunately, he had gotten killed in a motorcycle accident soon after he had built a special purpose 2.7-liter 911 engine. And his brothers and I are still close, and they had kind of kept it in a barn. The engine was on a pallet wrapped in shrink wrap. It had the car tub and an engine, and that was the two big pieces I thought that I needed, unbeknownst to me that really was just a tip of the iceberg of all the other pieces that had to be collected. If it hadn't been for the engine that had the nostalgia of my friend, I might have backed away, but I wanted to kind of see it through. Just had to slow down, take a deep breath, and say, okay, this is going to take some time, and not get overwhelmed by the totality of it all. The project really wasn't advancing. We had some setbacks with the engine. We had some setbacks with some details that weren't quite shaking out. And up until picking up the car, it had not been run under its own power. Hey, better late than never. Start flipping switches and hear whines and grunts and moans, and then hit that start button, and then all this sound and noise and vibrations come to life. And to have that engine run, knowing that my friend had worked on it over 20 years ago, there's memories and a bond back to when he was alive. You know, here it is 20 years later, and part of him is still living through that engine. It has a nice song, it really does. 2 weeks leading up to our first track day were very nerve-wracking for me.
Leading up to it, I wasn't sure if I actually wanted to drive because it was a new car.
We're just thinking, okay, are the brakes going to work? Is the engine going to hold up? It never has been run more than 15 minutes, and we're going to go out on a track with it. Am I willing to drive this car at speed? Am I willing to let my son drive this car at speed? Is really the bigger question. You know, just kind of had to take a step of faith and say, okay, I want him to have a hobby that we both can enjoy. I want to push him to go out and do something he's never done before, and know that I've given him the best opportunity, the best safety equipment to reach something new and perform at a different level.
Thought went through my head about stalling. I don't want to stall in pit lane because that'd be really embarrassing. So I prevented that from happening, and the marshal signaled me out and pulled out onto the track, and I was going highway speed.
First lap, he comes around kind of safe. I'm on the overhand stance. The second lap, he comes buzzing by, going way faster than I ever was going, and it sounded good and he looked good. To hear the car run and to see him driving it at speed was topping it all off. It was well worth it at that point in time. All right, this is Jack Farrow. He's 5.5 years old. If it's not a car project a father and son can share, I think a father should be looking for something. It's just the father's interest in the son's interest is the most important thing. The time of working on something together, of having a common topic, a common hobby, is far more important than a piece of material in a machine. Both our names are on the car, but it's both of our interests tied together. It's the engagement, the connectivity that comes out of that is what's really important at the end of the day.